Okay, here we are in a lay-by in the middle of the countryside, and someone has decided to fly tip all these old tyres. Now this isn't the first time, this is the second time we've been here this week and taken away the tyres that people have fly tipped, and so we're about to do it again, and we're going to take the tyres away, and in next video or continuation of this video we will show you how we recycle these tyres for the good of the environment. Oh, they're all full of water, and this time of year it would probably be easier, of course, to get the tyres from the local tyre shop. But our intention is to demonstrate how we can help the environment and help clear the mess that people leave out in the environment. So here we are collecting the old tyres, and a bit of a job. I'm hoping I'm not ruining my vehicle on doing this, because obviously they're all a bit grubby, but this is what you have to do, because otherwise every time we drive along this country road we are forced to see all this rubbish just dumped here by people who don't care, people who are well, they don't think, they don't think that people have to live here, and well, they do, and so we're taking these tyres away. So we're doing our part for the environment and for recycling. And I'm hoping that people who watch this video will have the same idea afterwards and think, well, yes, so I see a tyre in the countryside, I'm going to pick this up and take it home, and in doing so will help to make the countryside nicer. But look at this mess here. This is what someone else's, 2 or 3 people, I don't know, one person maybe, has decided to dump their rubbish in the middle of the countryside, and it's absolutely disgusting. Okay, right, we're going to show you now from start to finish how to make a planter quickly out of a car tyre. Right, off you go. This is in real time. To start with, we're making a fancy shape around the top edge. No, he's not doing that. He's going to cut the outer rim off first. Use your sharp knife. Round he goes, cutting off the steel rib. Now this is in real time, we're not speeding anything up, and you'll also notice that the hailstorm has just started as we start the film. There we go. You do need a sharp knife for this project. Now we're starting with the fancy, cutting the fancy edge on it. Be very careful that you don't cut your hands. You don't really need to mark it out, just use your eye. Obviously, if you're more of a perfectionist, you could mark it out to make it easier to start with, but as you get near to the edge, near to the end, you can reckon whether you need to make a slightly bigger or slightly smaller triangle. Notice it cuts very quickly with a sharp knife. You need to hold the edge of the tyre quite firmly so you don't slip. You can watch the timer on the video to see how long this is taking. This should take less than 10 minutes. The hardest part is to turn the tyre inside out, which we're going to demonstrate very quickly in a minute. And there we are. I'd say that was about halfway round. One more, perhaps one more, and then we're halfway around the tyre. I suppose in an ideal world we might get the sharpening iron out and give the blade a couple of quick swipes, but with the bad weather we've left that indoors, so there'll be a little bit more wrestling going on. But the lad here enjoys himself. He's generating body heat as he does it, and this is ideal for these Arctic conditions. Notice the skill of the operative, and if you listen very carefully you might hear giggles of pleasure, because this is actually a fun job. Now this particular artisan can turn out many tyres in a day, probably 50 tyres perhaps in a day. And for our next project we need 100 tyres like this, and so I think the knife's getting a bit blunter. That's why I was saying we really need to sharpen it up, really, but it's the first part of the cut where the tyre's thicker. You've got to be really careful you don't cut yourself. And this is a no blood operation, so don't expect to see any blood on this particular tyre, because we do not like the colour of blood. Yeah, see how quickly the knife's getting blunt now. I see a slight cut on your finger there.
What's happened to a blunt knife?
Oh, that's why you should really hone it. Almost there. And this is probably going to be the last cut. If indeed the knife will work. Let's see if we can cut the last one without cutting yourself. Now normally this would cut very clearly, but as you can see the blade has become dull. Come on, you must finish it. Come on, you can do it. Don't get defeated on this last bit. It's a thick crust as it starts. Once he gets past the outer crust, he'll be able to cut through. And there he goes, like a true soldier. Right, now watch how quickly it's done now. This is what we call tyre wrestling. Watch how it's done. Straight into it. Now he's not holding back. He's going in there with power. So notice how he's knuckled in and bent the tyre. This tyre is not saying no to the man. The knees going straight in and pulling in, forcing the rubber. Now, if it was warm weather, this would be a little bit easier because the rubber would be more supple, but it isn't. It's fighting him all the way, but can he do it?
Not first attempt.
Oh, he's starting again now. There he goes. There he goes. It's always harder when you're being watched. And this is an example of just how hard it can be when you're being watched. Remember, this is being filmed live. The whole thing is being filmed live. And there he is. Whoops. Once he's got it past the first part, he's not going to be beaten. Come on now, this is less than 8 minutes from start. Just 8 minutes from start. Can he finish it? It's going to be completed within the 10-minute mark. Bend it right over. Bend over. Trample it down, that's it. That's it. Show it who's master, man or tyre. And there we have it. All complete. Rotate it, hold it level, and that is the finished job. A perfect tyre completed in less than 10 minutes, 9 minutes to be exact. Well done to the maestro.